I'm glad that I'm able to talk about this because that was something that I was really worried about.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time in the channel, hit subscribe right now. Affirmations is, when we're talking, out for about 3 weeks. My first question is going to be a very selfish one. What's the status of the vinyl pre-order? Because I can't wait to have my copy.
Oh my gosh, I think that they're supposed to be coming like very soon. I don't know exactly. I know that I get a box soon to give to my family, but I have to double check. I'm excited. I can't wait.
Shame me till I'm seeing colors that look right.
I don't say this every time, but this is one of those albums that for me kind of came out of nowhere because I was not familiar with you before this album, and it absolutely blew me away. And it's something very different than what I tend to listen to. This is more of a hard rock, heavy metal channel. But I think it's a phenomenal album. But let's dig into it. I'm not here just to, stroke your ego.
Thank you.
So, Affirmations. That word itself, the title of the album, generally means something about, a positive attitude, looking at life through a colorful lens, if you will, or self-empowerment. Is Affirmations the goal of this album? Because when we actually then read into the lyrics, it's far from rainbows, lollipops, and sunshine.
Yeah, basically the idea of titling it that is, I think affirmations can go both ways. The more that you tell yourself something, the more that you believe it. And I struggled pretty heavily with depression and anxiety, and I have a very negative script that I've kind of been reciting to myself since I was a child. And so it's almost like a trope to it. And I ended up getting the word affirmations tattooed on my arm as a reminder to make sure that I'm, telling myself the positive ones. So.
This is a very personal album, and the more that we listen or read the lyrics, the more it becomes clear that the or one of the antagonists in the story is yourself. You call out certain things like everything I've done to me, in King of Disappointment, I believe, never loved anything in Shiver. Is that a right way to look at the album, or is the I person in this album more a victim?
I feel like it depends. I always say it depends on the headspace that I'm in the day that I'm listening to it or the day I'm performing it. But I feel like a lot of it is like a self-imposed way of being, way of thinking, and the idea of meeting like my child self in all of the music videos kind of shakes up that perspective. And it's like, wow, why have I been talking to her that way this entire time? So
You can call me king of disappointment. Welcome to my castle, everything's worthless.
No matter who you are, where you come from, everybody in the last 2 years has, to some extent faced their internal demons, given what the world has gone through. Are you seeing much stronger or more emotional reactions from fans than with previous work?
In a different way, yeah. And when you asked that question, I got full body chills. I have never really been as, I don't know, I've never really talked as much about the meaning of an album as I have with Affirmations. And I feel like there's a number of reasons why, also TikTok being like a really wonderful window into the artist world. And so I feel like that was the floodgates for people to be like, whoa, like I didn't even realize I was feeling this way, or this is describing exactly how I feel. And I'm like, it feels like the veil between artist and listener is a lot thinner, and so there's like ways that we can connect. I think especially because with TikTok you're seeing videos as opposed to just a still. It's like people are being enveloped in your world, and I do feel like the emotional response to this specifically, because it is a very emotionally heavy body of work, yeah, people are really, really resonating with it. And I think because we all have, you know, our younger selves to look at, it's a very human experience. So the messaging or the messages that I've been getting are very intense, and but it's very beautiful too.
There's no way out inside of these broken halls, and there's chains on my door, no leaving.
Intense, dark, yet beautiful. It's very personal, emotionally charged, but you also are clearly excited about this release. What is that like for you, working on such an emotional album? Like, is that always a catharsis, or is there a level of PTSD for you that you are kind of like, you know, digging or delving straight into all the problems you had to overcome and continue to overcome?
Yeah, it's definitely hard. I feel like releasing a body of work, no matter if it's a positive one, although if you listen to ECHOS, a lot of our music is very sad. I hate that I'm laughing about that. I think that it depends. I mean, I feel like every time I release a body of work, it's very emotionally draining for me, because everything that I've ever written it's something I've experienced. So it's like my diary is just on display for the world. But also, you know, with how the music industry works, a lot of these songs were written 3 years ago. So it is really strange to be like, well, I've already processed that, but to people listening, it's brand new. So it's very interesting. Yeah. And
people are also now, you know, it is your diary that you say, but people are now making that art their own and might share with you like, oh, this song for me really talks to me about this piece of me. And it might be completely different than what you go through or went through. Is that weird as an artist?
No, I think it's kind of beautiful, because I love knowing that my music can unlock something in someone. I think that's the goal. Like I always am striving to make people feel less alone in their emotions, which is so funny because I always feel so alone in mine. You know, I think that's why I'm creating it, and I'm like, okay, I need to create an experience for someone that I have a hard time creating for myself. But I will say a lot of our listeners, mostly all of them, they know exactly what I'm singing about, and then they're just spot on. So I feel like for the most part, it usually means to people what it means for me. But if I can unlock, you know, a realization or a comfort or a safe space with my art, that always just makes me feel really, really good.
After everything I've done to me, I can't take it anymore, this crown. After everything I've done,
it's almost like we're you know, willingly jump in with you on this dark journey. And although there's some happier harmonies at the end of the album of Na Na Na, I'm not sure there's a light at the end of the tunnel. How should we look at that journey?
I feel like it's always going to be an ebb and flow. And I feel like I'm glad that I'm able to talk about this, because that was something that I was really worried about, is that, you know, we kind of left it hoping that Na 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 would be hopeful, but I don't want it to feel like there isn't light at the end of the tunnel, because there is.
so I guess that I probably
I was in an incredibly dark place when this album was being written. It was awful, and I feel like that really came out, and I didn't realize like how horrible of a place I was in until I got out of it. And I actually haven't even listened to the album from start to finish, because I've just been like, I just can't right now. And I mean, it's a succubus. I don't even know where to begin on like what I was going through. And I think one day I'll talk about it a little bit more in depth. But yeah, it was not a good time. But the hope that I want to try and talk about more is that I did get help. I found an incredible therapist. I got out of the situations that I was in, and it does get better, even if it feels like it won't. And it's really important that you surround yourself with people who support you and love you and want your healing. You know, if you're surrounded by people that are pulling you down, you will stay there. We need people. We can't do these things on our own. We can't heal alone. We have to have people there in community who truly see you for yourself and want the best for you.
So follow me into the shiver.
from an image and branding and artwork perspective, a lot of thought went into this clearly, and it's done, so it's really well executed. And then maybe you already have, I don't know, I apologize, but following, you know, some of the music videos and also some of the, let's call it, teaser videos that you've made before and in between, is that a passion for you to go into actual film as well?
Oh yeah, I love everything with music videos and writing up concepts and photography. Yeah, that is my absolute favorite. It's so fun to be able to tell, you know, two stories in one, or one story with a metaphorical version of it. Working with Quinn, she's who played my child self, was amazing. The idea of holding her, you know, we wanted it to come across that like I'm giving myself the love that I never have before, and it's the idea of, if you viewed yourself through the lens of your child self, you know, it was so healing for me to make, because Quinn is just having fun the whole time, and everything's new to her. And I was like, whoa, like, you know, seeing her just having so much fun and getting excited about, you know, she got to ride in the back of a truck for the first time in her life for Shiver. And she was like, this is so cool. You can feel the wind in your hair. And that, you know, it like, making these videos wasn't just acting for me. It was like, oh yeah, like feeling the wind in your hair is cool. And, you know, when do you think about those little things? And so it really felt like I got to, you know, have this child self experience, and, you know, while also telling the story. And so it's so fun for me. I absolutely love that side of creating.
Yeah. Is that a challenge at some points then, when you have a kid involved that, to your point, just needs to have a great time? There are some darker concepts that come out in these music videos, and I can imagine, beyond the stress of just creating a music video, which is a bigger production than most people can realize, the emotional charge there is present for you, no doubt. So were there times that you were like, okay, I'm stressed out and I'm gonna have to face a certain demon by this scene, but I have to kind of put that aside because I have to make sure that she has a good experience?
Yeah, we did it in a way that things were filmed, like we were having fun the whole time. Like it wasn't like, now this very emotionally charged thing is happening. Like, you know, when we were really careful about that, because we wanted it to be obviously a very fun experience for her, and make sure that everybody was okay. For me, it was hard for certain times, you know, certain lyrics that I had to look at her and say, I had to stop sometimes. But I feel like we were so engulfed in the moment that it was so fun, and I felt like a little kid. I mean, in Stick, we quite literally got to have a food fight. You know, things like that really lightened up the mood, and it was a blast. So yeah.
Now, with being more open than ever before, maybe more honest than ever before, which must also be a very scary thing as an artist.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pause for a second. Let's go into that. Was there like an oh shit moment when you had like, okay, I've got basically the masters done and here it is, world? Did you have to convince yourself that this was a good idea?
Yeah, I had to ask my managers a lot, like, is it okay that I say this? Because I've never talked about my experience with a lot of the things on the album. And it's something I've struggled with for years. And I just didn't think that I was allowed to sing about it, especially not covering it in a metaphor. You know, I'm pretty honest and blatant with the lyrics for the first time. And I remember writing this, we were at a writing retreat with our record label and some friends, and I was just sitting there and I was writing 30 seconds and I was humming it in the corner to myself. Like I was like, I can't go over there and say that. And they heard, one of my friends was like, what are you singing? That you need to come record that. That's really powerful. And I'm like, whoa, I don't know if I can touch that. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. And that was the first song that just opened up this world of, I can say anything. if it, you know, that helps me heal, and if I'm putting the right intention behind it. And it was terrifying because I just felt like that wasn't something that was allowed for a long time. I don't know why. I think it was, fear of judgment.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Is that only what?
Yeah. Has that led to a change in your style of music or themes that you're willing to address in music? Or do you, because this is the first time we speak, this for me is the only Lexi that I know. Do you feel that that has also changed you personally and in your, you know, the people that are around you, how you interact with them?
Oh yeah. Wow. Yeah. I feel like I've never been able to say, hey, I need this, or hey, I feel this. And this album truly was that vessel for me. And I feel like that's such a beautiful part about creating, is we're constantly learning new ways about ourselves. And I love, for me, that art has always kind of been that force to be like, okay, if you can do it in your music, you can do it in real life too. And it absolutely, it showed me that I'm allowed to say what I feel and that I'm not going to get in trouble for it, you know?
Let's look ahead. So what the fans that are discovering or rediscovering you, because there are still elements of your musical past in this album, but I'm gonna say that this is a little different than what your fans have heard before, and I'm sure a lot of people want to see you, you know, bring that to life on a stage somewhere. So what can you share?
I'm definitely planning putting together tours. That is my goal for this body of work. It absolutely needs to be played live. We just filmed some videos of live performances. I put together a full band for the first time, which is amazing. I'm having so much fun. Like, I've never had this much fun making music ever in my life, and I feel like I can finally just like be myself and like share this version of me that I feel like has never truly existed before. And it's so like, I don't know, like I'm happy. Like I'm finally happy, and it's really weird to be able to say that. And I feel like hopefully that's the light at the end of the tunnel. Like I can share, like I went through all of this and I got through it, and I hope that that can be like the, you know, the lights. And I'm just excited to finally share a Lexi who can show up and who is really happy and doesn't, you know, can get out of bed. And it took a lot of healing to get there. I owe a lot of credit to being fortunate enough to have a therapist that I feel very connected to. That it's changed my life. So very excited for that.
Awesome. Well, Lexi, I just want to say thank you for being so open with me, and not just with me, but also just, I guess, with everybody, because, you know, because of the record. And I really can't wait to see you announce tour dates with that band that you've put together, and see a very happy Lexi on stage and playing these songs. And then I obviously, you know, selfishly hope that that those shows will come to Canada, or in the States close enough to Toronto. I
love Canada. I love Canada. So that's absolutely gonna happen. We're gonna make that happen.
Lexi, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I genuinely love your album. And you know what? It's as dark as the heaviest metal, so I'm good. And thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really, really appreciate it. I had so much fun chatting with you, and hope to talk soon.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it, and subscribe to the channel.